Hi guys, this is Abhishek Bhide and you're watching Sports 24/7. As usual, we have our regular contributors Pranav Ranade and Ritvik Patil. So, hello both of you.
Hi.
Hello.
We are here at the second test match between India and England at Lords. The first test match, as we all know, was poised at a very interesting stage after day 4. But unfortunately, day 5 got washed off and we were not able to enjoy the thrilling last day, and the result could have gone either way. We'll come to that. But first up, this match is at Lords, the historic Lords cricket ground, and they say that it is the Mecca of cricket. And at least Sunil Gavaskar says it's the Mecca of English cricket, not all cricket. But anyways, it's a historic cricket ground, and India has, every time we have toured there, we have played test matches there. So, do you have any special memories over there, Ritvik?
As far as memories goes, we don't have any special test memories since I started watching cricket. But the only great memory of Lords is definitely the 2002 NatWest series final, where we chased 300 plus score, and Ganguly waved his T-shirt towards the Lord's balcony. So that is the best memory. My only wish for this year is that either Virat Kohli or Cheteshwar Pujara, I hope they can score a century, because none of our three great batsmen of history, that is Sunil Gavaskar, Sachin Tendulkar, and Virat Kohli, none of them have scored 100 at Lords. So hopefully this time Virat Kohli can score 100 and make it more memorable.
And Pranav, if we see overall, our record at Lords in Test cricket is not great. We have only managed to win a couple of Test matches over there, but otherwise we have had some really huge losses. So, how do you see it as when it comes to the venue?
Yeah, so I think we have only won two test matches at Lords, first in 1986 and then directly in 2014. So I don't know, maybe just the pressure of being playing in the mecca of cricket, playing at the home of cricket, that might be the only reason I suspect is the reason why we have kind of failed at Lords. Even the greats like Sachin Tendulkar, they have only highest score of 34 or 35 at Lords. So I think that's only pressure of playing at the maybe the highest quality or the home of cricket, as the English people call.
Yes, and if I'm not wrong, not only Sachin Tendulkar, but even Brian Lara or Ricky Ponting, they don't have such a great record at Lords. And I'd like to share with all our viewers and also both of you, whenever you get a chance, you should, when you visit London, you should visit Lords Cricket Ground. There's a very nice guided tour over there, nice experienced guides in their traditional attire, and they actually bring you around the ground. They tell you the details of the ground. You can see the honors board, and also you can visit the visitors balcony. So it's a great experience. I visited in 2013, and it is one of the like memorable moments of my tourist or tourism or sports career, you can say. So having said that, I'd like to bring you on to the main sort of topic of discussion, which is everybody has been debating who would have won the last match, Pranav. So what do you think? Who was in like a more stronger position, we can say, India or England?
To me, India were in a stronger position because the pitch was playing really good. Basically, at least 120 to 130 overs had been the pitch had been covered for that time. So it was kind of a day 3 end to day 4 early start pitch, even though it was a day 5. It was supposed to be a day 5. So the ball was coming pretty nicely onto the bat, and there wasn't any considerable swing or seam movement which would trouble our middle order and the lower middle order. So when I slept at the end of day 4, I thought that India is going to win in 2 sessions. I told you that. So I believe it was a lost chance for India. But at the same time, I am very much satisfied that India has not lost the first test in a foreign series. So that's what the satisfying thing is to me.
And Ritvik, we have seen a few times in the recent past that India has struggled to chase scores of, let's say, around 190 or 200, 220 in the fourth innings. So, do you agree with Pranav that we were in a more commanding position than England?
Definitely, we were in more commanding position, but as you have seen that it was continuously raining on day 4 and day 5. So according to me, the match was evenly poised on day 5, and even England could have had an upper hand if the play would have started, because under overcast skies, we know how good is James Anderson. So I think the match would have been a great thrilling contest, because in the fourth innings there is definitely the pressure of chasing. So I wouldn't say that it was India's game. I would say it was 50-50.
All right, Pranav, before coming on to the team combinations for both India and England, is it going to be a little bit tough for India now, or will we have to be mentally stronger? Because sometimes what happens is you are in a winning position in the first test match, and then suddenly the match gets washed off, and it's difficult to maintain that advantage. And somehow in the second test match, we have seen before that we have suddenly been bowled out for 100 or a low score. So is it going to be tougher, or will we have to like focus on this point, the Indian team?
I don't think it's going to be tough for us. On the other hand, it's going to be tougher for England, is what I feel, because India's combination is mostly set apart from one injury of Shardul, and apart from the concerns of middle order, I don't think there was any issue with Indian team as far as the first test was concerned. So, in fact, India has a upper hand as far as this test match is going, and I'm hoping that on 15th of August, our Independence Day, India will win this match within 4 days.
Ritvik, looking at the team combination of England, what do you think? Because they have brought on a couple of people into the squad, especially Moeen Ali, probably to bat at number 7 and as a spin bowling option, plus a couple of changes in the fast bowling department with an injury to Broad, and maybe even Anderson sort of is going to miss out on this match.
Yes, I would say England right now is in a very deep trouble, because this is their third test match of the summer and they are yet to register a win. And the recent report says that Stuart Broad has been ruled out of the entire series, and even James Anderson is doubtful to play. So they are in deep trouble. And the two newcomers, that is Mark Wood, he's not a regular in the 11, and there is a potential debut for Saqib Mahmood. So if these two play, there is a loss of 300 test matches of combined test matches of Anderson and Broad. So England is in deep trouble. But one good thing is that they have Moeen Ali, who is in a very good form in the current 100 tournament. So they have one positive in Moeen Ali. But again, their top order and middle order, apart from Joe Root, it's a very fragile. So England are in a very bad position to start this second test.
And also, Moeen Ali has a pretty decent record against India, both with bat and ball. So, what you are saying, Ritvik, is it's going to be Sam Curran. He'll maintain his position in the side, plus Mark Wood and Saqib, right? Saqib will come in, and then the fourth seamer will be Ollie Robinson. He'll continue to play.
Yes.
So everybody will be pretty much inexperienced, we can say. And Pranav, I'd like to discuss the batting techniques with you, because especially coming to Indian batting lineup, Cheteshwar Pujara, we have seen him, if the ball goes between bat and pad and you get bowled, it's still okay, that you can work on that. But we have seen this new phenomenon with him, wherein he closes the face of his bat. Maybe he's worried about the bat pad gap, and then he either gets an edge or even he's getting bowled, and he's getting bowled by missing the outside edge, and the ball is not even clipping the outside part of off stump. The ball is hitting the inside part of off stump or even close to middle stump. So what is this this phenomenon or technical glitch which we are saying in Pujara's batting?
Abhishek, it's actually a mental block, not only with Pujara, but also with partly with Kohli as well as Ajinkya. So, firstly, Pujara, if you saw the last 13 balls of his second innings, he was almost he almost got out on at least say 6 to 7 balls. He either missed them or edged them, and it fell in no man's land. So it's actually a mental block and kind of a decreased confidence in his own game that has resulted in this, because 2 years back you did not see Pujara being so fragile, and he was actually called the Wall 2.0 of Indian cricket team. So this mostly is the mental block which I am hoping is going to get clear in this test match of all the entire middle order, including our captain as well as vice captain and the ever dependable Pujara.
Because if you see Pranav, he edged the ball which was on the stumps.
Yeah,
It was somewhere around off and middle stump. And also in Australia, to Josh Hazelwood, he got out similarly. He got bowled where the ball missed the outside edge of the bat and it hit the middle and off stump. So that is something which is to see a technically sound batsman in such a situation is worrying. And as you said, we hope that he'll overcome this and get back to run scoring ways. Also, the Indian batting, which we saw, Ajinkya Rahane, Virat Kohli, and Pujara, they pretty much failed to score in the one time which they got to bat. So that will be the main thing for the Indian team to like remedy that and make sure that the middle order scores.
absolutely. That was the only weak link in the last test match. If you see the new opening combination, they fired, completely fired. They neutralized the new ball, and KL Rahul, against all odds, against everybody's expectations, he was the batsman of the match after Joe Root, we can say. So he actually deserved 100 in the first innings, and even in the second innings, he got out on 26, but he played it very skillfully. So the opening is pretty set, and even the lower middle order, and I'm considering only Jadeja, not Pant, and the tail ender, they significantly contributed to India's batting. So the only weak link is number 3, number 4, and number 5, the most experienced players. And I'm really hoping all the three of them are fire in this Lord's Test match.
And Ritvik, looking at the Indian bowling, we discussed during the World Test Championship that Bumrah looked, he didn't bowl badly, but he was not lucky. He was not getting the edge. He was beating the bat. So do you think that he remedied this, he corrected it in this match and he came up with 4 wickets in first innings and 5 wicket haul in the second innings? And Ritvik, you must be very happy that he bowled full and he got, a couple of Yorkers through Broad and Anderson.
Correct, absolutely. Because if you see in the World Test Championship final match, Bumrah was not bowling that Yorker and fuller length ball to the tailenders, and now he rectified that mistake, and we easily cleaned up England's tail. And the way Bumrah bowled, I think his confidence must have confidence must be back, because there must be definitely discussion between the players and the management and the coaches about how to rectify those mistakes in the past. And I think the bowling group is coming together very well. That is our 4 pace bowlers. Unfortunately, we don't have Shardul Thakur now, and I would like to see him replaced by R. Ashwin, because definitely this R. Ashwin is very much skillful bowler, and he has quite a good experience of bowling in England. So I would like to see Ashwin in place of Shardul.
Right, and also Pranav, Ashwin, as Ritvik is saying, he'll be a better batsman at number 8 as compared to the other fast bowlers which we have, because if we pick 4 fast bowlers and Shardul is not one of them, and that sort of weakens the batting a little bit. So what do you think is going to be that combination? How is it going to be?
Yeah, so it's actually going to be it's going to be a toss up between Ashwin and Ishant, because I read somewhere that Ishant had a couple of pretty long net sessions. So maybe Kohli and company intends to play Ishant instead of Shardul Thakur, and maybe they are going to take risk by slightly weakening their batting, because they also know that Shardul got out on 0 in first inning. So basically, he did not contribute with the bat in the first match, and they are hoping that the first 7 batsmen, they could contribute, even if Ashwin isn't there. It won't hamper much, is what probably is the thinking of Virat and company. But as Ritvik said, Ashwin looks better. He looks stable as a batsman as well as a bowler. He can bowl long spells, and we also have an issue of overrun rate with both the teams. So he can at least neutralize that, and well, he can bowl as good as Shardul and Ishant. So we are thinking that Ashwin is going to play, but you never know. I just read maybe Ishant is slightly in favor. I mean, Virat is slightly in favor of Ishant, I think.
Yes, and you mentioned the over rates. So both teams after the first test match has been docked a couple of points. That's what I read for slow over rates. And Virat also mentioned it in his press conference today. Also, Pranav, as you mentioned, maybe this is a way of looking at things, that instead of worrying how much number 8 will contribute with the bat, you have to worry about the top 6 or top 7 rather than worrying about number 8, because number 8, his primary job is to bowl. So maybe there is this line of thinking amongst some experts as well, ex-cricketers, that number 8, you have to first think who is the better bowler for that pitch and that situation, and then batting comes second. So maybe they are going with that line of thought. I'd like to Pranav, just before finishing, and also Ritvik, mention Joe Root's innings, because that was what an innings it was. It was one of the best test innings I have seen, especially probably Joe Root's top 3 or top 5 innings. So what is your take on that innings?
Definitely, because Joe Root with that inning, it was a counter-attacking inning in the third innings of the match. So, and it put England in a good commanding position, not to win a test match, but at least to give their bowlers a chance to attack India and try to win the match on the 5th day. It was unfortunate that we couldn't see the thrilling end to the match, but this inning has put Joe Root back in the top 10, and now he's above Virat Kohli in the ranking. So definitely it's one of the great innings of Joe Root. And as usual, he always scores against India.
Right, and Pranav, will it be fair to say that his innings actually saved England, because if he hadn't scored those runs, we might have even won the match earlier.
Absolutely. So basically, England scored around 480 runs in both innings combined, and Joe Root himself scored 163 runs out of that. So basically, almost 34% of the runs have been scored by Joe Root. You just take the counter-attacking century out of the equation, and you see India ahead 1-0 at the end of day 4 at Nottingham. So his innings was not only counter-attacking, but it also turned out to be a match-saving innings. And who knows, maybe the way Kohli batted against England in 2018 summer, maybe Joe Root is trying to bat the same way against India in this summer.
Right. So having discussed all these points, one good news is that the weather forecast at Lords in England, it says that it is going to be pretty much clear and good weather. So we are expecting all 5 days of cricket. Having said that, Ritvik, your prediction for this match, how do you see this going?
Considering all the injury troubles England is having, I'll say India will start as favorites, and they'll go on to win the match on maybe day 4.
Pranav?
Same here, exactly as Ritvik. India is in pretty dominant position, at least on paper right now, 15 hours before the match. And I am hoping the same reflects in India's performance. And I'm hoping on 15th of August, India would be 1-0 up in this 5-match series.
Right. So thank you, Pranav and Ritvik, for joining us and sharing your thoughts. And we are hoping that, as both of you have said, India wins this test match to go 1-0 up in the series. And of course, hoping for some really good cricket over the period of 5 days. Thank you, all of you, for joining us for this preview. It has been a really nice discussion as usual. And do keep watching our channel. Do comment on our videos, do subscribe, like our videos if you find them interesting, and we'll keep coming up with more videos. See you soon. Thank you very much.